The Kreth fleet was the largest ever assembled in the known galaxy. 400 warships, 12 carrier-class destroyers, 60 escort vessels carrying enough firepower to crack a moon in half, and every single one of them was pointed at a single border marker floating alone in the dark between stars. A small metal plate, scratched and worn by decades of cosmic radiation. Etched on its surface were simple words in 17 languages. The last line, in Kreth script, read, "You are entering human space. Turn back." Fleet Commander Vos Arak floated before his observation window and studied the sign with cold eyes. He had heard the stories, of course. Every commander in the Kreth Dominion had heard them. Ships that entered human territory and went silent. Scouts that vanished without sending a final signal. 7 full fleets, each one powerful enough to conquer a mid-tier civilization, each one turning back before firing a single shot. The stories were passed around in military academies like ghost stories shared between frightened children. But Vos Arak was not a frightened child. He was a conqueror who had taken 11 worlds and broken 4 civilizations. He looked at the sign and felt nothing but impatience. "Give me the tactical report," he said. His tactical officer, a sharp young Kreth named Sevdrath, read from his screen without looking up. The humans have 32 confirmed warships. All older models, slow drives, outdated energy shields. Their largest vessel is less than half the mass of our smallest carrier. On paper, Commander, they are not a threat. "And yet 7 fleets before us turned back," said Sub-Commander Dreth, standing just behind Vos Arak's left shoulder. His voice was quiet, careful. Vos Arak turned to look at him for a long moment. "7 fleets of cowards who believed old stories," he said flatly. "We are not cowards, and we do not believe in ghost stories." He gave the order. The fleet crossed the border. For 12 hours, nothing happened at all. The stars did not move. Space stayed cold and silent. Sensors swept in every direction and found nothing. No human warships, no automated defense platforms, no response signals, no warning transmissions, just empty, quiet dark stretching out in every direction, as if the humans had simply left and forgotten to take their border sign with them. The mood on the bridge began to shift. Officers started standing straighter. Conversations got louder. Sevdrath pulled up system maps and began marking potential human colony worlds as targets. Dreth alone stayed quiet at his station, watching his screen with careful eyes. "You see?" Vos Arak said, walking slowly between the command stations. "Fear is the oldest weapon in the galaxy. Humans learn to use it better than most. But fear only works on those who are far away. Up close, it has no power. Up close, we will see them for what they are." Then the first ship disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged, not even struck by weapons fire. The Vessel of Glory, a heavy destroyer carrying 412 crew, simply stopped sending signals. No explosion registered on any sensor. No distress call on any frequency. No debris field, no energy burst, no shockwave. One moment, it appeared as a solid contact on the navigation screen. The next moment, that space was empty, as if the ship had never existed. Dreth was on his feet before anyone else spoke. "Commander..." "Engine failure," Vos Arak said, his voice controlled and immediate. "Send a recovery team." The second ship vanished, then the third. They were not near each other. They were not in a line or a cluster. One was positioned at the very front of the fleet formation. One was tucked deep inside the center, surrounded on all sides by escort vessels. One was a rearguard carrier moving at the back of the column. 3 ships in 3 different positions across the full spread of the fleet. All 3 gone inside 2 minutes. No sound, no flash, no trace. The bridge did not just go quiet, it froze. Officers stopped moving. Hands stopped touching screens. Even the constant low hum of the fleet communication network seemed to fade. Every Kreth on that bridge was looking at Commander Vos Arak, waiting to be told what to do, waiting to be told there was an explanation. Vos Arak stared at the 3 empty points on the navigation map. He breathed slowly. Then he spoke. "Open all channels. Full spectrum broadcast. I want to speak to whoever is responsible." Static filled every speaker on the bridge. Long static that stretched for several seconds. Then a human voice came through, single and clear. The voice was calm, almost bored, in the way that someone is bored when they are doing a task they have done many times before. "Commander Vos Arak, this is Admiral Lena Chen of the Terran Defense Network. We have been expecting your call. You were warned." Vos Arak let the silence sit for a moment before he answered. "You have taken 3 of my ships," he said. You are hiding somewhere in this system, attacking from shadows. You fight without showing your face. In my culture, that is not called strength. It is called something else. A short pause. When Chen spoke again, her voice had not changed at all. You are currently inside a sensor web that has been operational for 11 years, she said. It covers every approach route into human territory. We know the exact coordinates of every ship in your fleet. We know your current fuel reserves. We know the rank and assignment of every officer on your command vessels. We have detailed records of your fleet movements going back to the moment you left your home system. Vossarack said nothing. We have been watching you since before you crossed the border, Commander. We watched you read the sign. Another ship vanished from the screen, then two more at once on opposite sides of the formation. Then stop hiding and fight us directly, Vossarack said. His voice stayed level, but his hands pressed flat against the command rail and did not move. We are fighting you directly, Chen said. You simply have not understood it yet. Vossarack stared at the navigation map. He had been watching the losses as they accumulated, logging them in the back of his mind, feeling the wrongness of the pattern without being able to name it. He pulled the full fleet map onto the main screen. He looked at which ships were gone. He looked at their positions. He looked at their designations. The cold feeling that had been sitting at the base of his throat became something much worse. The ships going dark were not random. They were not the closest ships to any perceived threat vector. They were not the biggest targets or the most exposed positions. Every vessel lost was one that carried a fleet coordinator, a tactical relay hub, a communications command station. One by one, with quiet precision, the humans were removing every ship that held the fleet together. They were not attacking the body. They were removing the nervous system. They know our command structure. Vossarack said quietly, not to anyone, just saying it aloud to make it real. Of course we do, Chen said, and he realized the channel was still open. We captured one of your advanced scouts 14 months ago, a junior officer named Velkarth. He resisted for quite a long time. But humans are patient people, Commander. We had 14 months. The cold became ice. How many of your ships have we actually destroyed? Chen asked. The question sounded genuine, almost academic. Sevdrath looked up from his screen, confused by the question. 3 carriers, 5 destroyers, 9 escort class, 14 total contacts lost in the last... 0, Chen said. Dreth looked up sharply. We have destroyed 0 of your ships, Chen said. Your crews are all alive. They are disoriented and confused, but none of them have been harmed. Vossarack stared at the map, at all the empty spaces where his ships had been. That is not possible. You cannot move a destroyer without... We did not move them with force, Chen said. We redirected them. 30 years ago, a human physicist named Dr. Yael Okafor developed what we call a gravity slingshot array. It uses a series of focused gravitational pulses to alter a ship's trajectory by small degrees over multiple passes. Your vessels are intact, their drives are functional, their crews are unharmed. But they have been passed through the array 4 to 6 times each, and at this point they are between 8 and 15 light minutes off course, moving in the wrong direction, and their navigation systems are returning contradictory data. They are not destroyed, Commander. They are simply lost. The bridge was completely silent. And they will stay lost, Chen continued, until we choose to guide them back, which we will do, once you turn around. Vossarack felt something he had not felt in a very long time, something he barely recognized. He looked at Dreth. Dreth's face showed it too. Not the fear of pain, not the fear of death in battle, which every soldier carries and learns to manage. This was something different. The fear of being completely, systematically outmatched by something you could not see, could not hit, and could not understand. The fear of realizing that the ghost stories were true. Why keep them alive? Vossarack asked. If you have this capability, why not simply destroy us and be done with it? The channel was quiet for a moment. Because dead soldiers prove nothing except that we can kill, Chen said. We already know we can kill. We need you to go home, Commander. We need you to stand in front of your High Council and tell them the truth. Not a story about monsters, not a story about weapons that burn stars. The truth, that you came here with 400 ships and the power to crack open a moon. And a species that you believed was weak and backwards quietly moved your entire fleet around like toys and sent every single one of your soldiers home breathing. Vossarack looked at the border marker on the long-range view, that small metal plate, still there, still floating. He thought about the 7 fleets that had turned back before his. He had called their commanders cowards in front of the entire war council. He had said they lacked the will to fight. He had asked to be given the command they refused. He understood them now. He understood that they had not turned back out of cowardice. They had turned back because they had seen something here. Something that could not be put into a report or explained in a strategy briefing. Something that had to be experienced to be believed. "What do you want from us?" he asked. "In the end, what is it that you actually want?" "To be left alone," Chen said. The words were simple and plain. "We have been asking for that for 60 years. We have sent diplomats. We have sent proposals. We have drawn borders and posted signs. We have shown patience that most species would not show. We are done asking, Commander. From now on, we are telling." Vossarack straightened. He looked at Sevdrath, who gave a slow nod. He looked at Dreth, who had already begun transmitting the turn order to the fleet. "What do we tell the High Council?" Dreth asked quietly. Vossarack was quiet for a long moment. The displaced ships were already being guided back by quiet human navigation signals, one by one, their engines intact, their crews shaken and pale and deeply grateful to be moving in a direction they could recognize. 400 ships, the greatest fleet the Kreeth Dominion had ever launched, turning back in silence. "We tell them the truth," Vossarack said. "Every detail, every moment. We tell them exactly what the sign on the border reads." The last thing he heard before the channel closed was Admiral Chen's voice, still calm, still unhurried, carrying the weight of someone who had said this before and fully expected to say it again. "One more thing, Commander. Tell your council this. The sign is a courtesy. The next fleet that crosses will not be turned around, redirected, or guided home. It will cross the border, and it will simply never be found. Not destroyed, not defeated, just gone. Forever. That is not a threat. That is a description of what will happen." The channel closed. The border marker floated in the dark, small and worn and patient. 400 ships passed it going the other direction. The sign still read, "Turn back." But every Kreeth officer on every ship that crossed back over that line knew something now that they had not known before. The sign was not a warning from a weak people hoping to be left alone. It was a message from the most dangerous species in the known galaxy. A species with the power to erase a fleet without a single death. A species with the patience to build that power quietly for 30 years without telling anyone. A species that could have destroyed them all and chose very deliberately not to. That last part was the most frightening thing of all, because it meant the humans were still being kind. And everyone on that fleet understood, without anyone saying it aloud, that human kindness was not something any of them ever wanted to see run out.